All right. This evening, we're in the presence of a Hall of Famer. We're in the presence of a boxing legend. And tonight, and this morning over in Texas, Christy Martin, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us, Christy. And yesterday I was just watching your documentary, and today we're talking to you. So this is I can't speak for Rika, but this is quite surreal for me. Anyway, um, let's get right to it. My first question to you is, throughout the process of making the documentary, what what were your thoughts? What were your feelings? Did did your life flash before your eyes? Were there any regressions or feelings that came back?
You know what? It was really fun as we were filming because it's Netflix. I was excited about. Oh wow, we're doing the thing with Netflix, and we have. I got to hang out with Jimmy Maloney, with Deirdre Gogarty, Miguel Diaz. I got to see a lot of people from my life and spend some time with them. But then, as they started getting closer and closer to release date, I was like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. I got really nervous about it actually being released. So overall, I hope that by sharing my life story with people, that they'll be able to take some inspiration and say, you know what, if that coal miner's daughter can do it, I can do it. So hopefully it gives them that little boost that they need to cross whatever hurdle that they have.
And yeah, I'm curious because going into this, our conversation or interview, I have a lot of what if questions for you. And one of them, well, I'll ask that later, but aside from Miguel Diaz, who were the other trainers you considered training you?
There, after that, everything happened with Jim, there was no other thought in my mind. My first call from the hospital bed, I was still in the hospital bed, and I called Miguel Diaz. There was just no other thought in my mind. Miguel's going to train me. If I'm going to continue on, I had to have Miguel.
All right. And okay, now my what if question. Back then, when your career started, the late 90s, correct me if I'm wrong, the late 90s, around mid 90s, and looking at not just women's boxing now, but boxing in general. What did you wish that boxers are getting now that you wish you had gotten then when you were when you were in your prime?
I think, wow, that's a good question because I think we were better, we were hungrier, we were a different level of boxers, male and female, back in the '90s than what we have today. But I guess as far as marketing, you would have to say, well, if we had the social media that these guys and women have now, it could have taken us to the next a different level. But gosh, social media is a pain in the butt. So I'm not sure. I don't know how if that would have been positive or negative. It would have probably been negative for my career because I just I just wanted to fight. I just wanted to fit in. I really didn't want to make a statement of any kind. I just wanted to fight. That's it.
Okay, and who would during uh, women's boxing right now? Who would a prime Christy Salters Martin? Who would you want to fight right now among the present women's boxers?
Well, of course, if I were right now, I would have to teach Clarissa Shields that it's not all about her. There were lots of women that came before her. There's going to be lots of women that will come after her, and she's not all that good. So I would show her that how to fight coming forward. I would show her how to fight backing up, and I would more than anything, I would show her how to fight. So Clarissa Shields for sure, no doubt.
Okay, and before I turn you over to Rika, back then professional boxers were not yet allowed to compete in the Olympics. If you were given that opportunity then in women's boxing in the Olympics, would you take it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can't imagine that there's a better feeling in this world than standing on the platform, getting a gold medal or any medal really put around your neck and the national anthem playing. I just yeah, I can't absolutely. Uh, even if they said, you had 20 fights and you can pro fights and you can still try for the Olympics, I would have to, because just because of what it means.
All right, Rika.
Yeah. I just want to say how happy I am, Christy, to have you here. I was telling Christy a while ago, Vince, that if she hadn't been in where she was, we wouldn't have been here, probably, us female boxers. So it's this is like a big thank you to Christy for paving the way for all female boxers and fighters. Because back during your time, Christy, you said in the documentary that uh, they didn't want women inside boxing gyms at all, right? How did that feel to go inside boxing gyms and people not take you seriously? Did that fire you up even more to prove to them that you can do it?
Oh, absolutely. That "I'll show you" attitude has motivated me. It's got me in trouble in my life, but it's also brought some positive in my life. But for sure, we walked into Johnny Taco's gym in Las Vegas, who's very very famous gym, and like everybody just held their breath because they knew that there was no women supposed to be in the gym. But Don King had rented the gym, so I'm one of Don King's fighters. He really didn't have a lot of say. But I won Johnny over, and by the time the fight came around that weekend, he was actually working as my cut man. So then that was it. I just wanted people to give me the chance to show them that I took the sport seriously, I trained hard, and I could fight a little bit. I mean, this happened to every female fighter, though. My wife, Lisa, she went into many gyms, or tried to go into many gyms here in Texas, and was told no women could come in. Mm-hmm. So it was a hard door to knock down, but we finally got it knocked down.
Yeah, definitely. And you talked about marketing a while ago. You said how different it is to that now we have different opportunities to market ourselves. But during your time, you actually were pretty good in marketing yourself. You wore that pink robe, and then they were marketing you to be the girl next door, or the pretty uh, feminine woman who's gonna kill anybody inside the boxing ring. Did you like that kind of branding they had for you back then?
Well, I think I am that person. I'm the girl next door. You can knock on your neighbor and get me. You can knock on your neighbor's door and you'll get me. I'm not obviously I'm not Layla Ali. My dad's not famous. I'm not Mia St. John, who sex sells with Mia. I didn't have a built-in fan base. I'm just a country girl from Southern West Virginia, coal miner's daughter. So I think they marketed pretty legitimately, actually, just the girl next door. That's who I am. That's who I was as a fighter. And I wanted to come in there and I wanted to knock you out. I mean, that's just my mindset. Even today, if I went into a fight today, I'm not going to go out there and try to get rounds in. I want to knock you out and go home.
I actually love that sort of like deceptive feminine persona that you have, but then inside the ring you're really that violent and really like I'm gonna knock you out. That's simple as that. So is that something that well, obviously it worked, right? It became a really really marketable persona at the time.
I think so. And if we did have all the social media and all the push that fighters, male or female, are getting now, then maybe could have gone even to the next level. But I had a great career. I did a lot of fantastic stuff and things. Been on the cover of Sports Illustrated, the first female boxer that was on the cover. And that's what I say, it doesn't matter how many come after me, I will always be the first. No one can ever take that away from me. And another really cool thing that's happened is they named the female fighter of the year. It's the Christy Martin Female Fighter of the Year. So actually the year that they gave the first one, we got to go to the event. And when I spoke, I said, it's really great because when an award gets named after people, most of the time it's after you're dead. So I got to be there alive and help present the award. So, a lot of cool things have happened to me because of boxing, and boxing gives me a platform to talk about my life and domestic violence awareness.
Definitely. You are a living legend. actually, and the young legend that you're not
Thank
really
you.
that old. But I have
Thank
this
you.
question actually. Well, Don King recently turned 90 last month, right? How was he like in person? Well, he's a very he's well, people are like whether some people like him, some people don't like him, but how was he like in person?
Don King is what you see is what you get, and I'm still doing business with them. So I guess that tells you a little bit of something that I must have had a pretty good ride with them back in the '90s. And the thing with King, he's a businessman. If he has it on paper, you're gonna get it. If he just in a passing conversation tells you, "Oh, you knock out this girl, I'll give you 50,000." Well, that was in passing conversation. He said that, so you might get 5 or 10, and you might get nothing. So yeah, but if it's on paper, you're gonna get it. And look, he made so many people very wealthy. He made the greatest fights in the '80s, '90s. He put all the big fights together, most all the big fights. Some way he had a hand in it, and he gave me an opportunity that no other promoter was ever going to give me. And because of the opportunity he gave me, look where women's boxing is today.
Yeah, for sure. Also, given this kind of success, and you said that you were first and you were the first, how was that like to take in all of that? I could just imagine how overwhelmed you must be feeling because you were the first. Everything was just
Well,
so big.
I was the first to get that kind of media attention, but there were so many women that came before me. There were women boxing. I mean, people have no idea, but in the 1800s, there were women boxing. So all along, and it's kind of like once a decade, there'll be one or two females that would push hard to get women's boxing legalized or accepted, taken seriously. It was just, I happened to be in the right place at the right time, fighting under Mike Tyson when the whole world is watching. We had a great fight. What if I had gone out there, or Gogarty, or either one of us, we had stunk up the show, then women's boxing wouldn't have gotten that kick that night. Maybe they would have gotten a different night, but it wasn't going to be that night.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you, Christy. Vince?
Christy, would you fight a YouTuber?
Well, this is the problem. So I had a stroke in 2011, and I keep telling my wife I can make a lot of money right now fighting a YouTuber or coming back and fighting some of these people, and she tells me no. So it's yes. Would I? Absolutely. Would I love to? Absolutely. Would no? It's not going to happen. No.
Or at least an exhibition fight.
Yeah, we actually were at a brain study in Las Vegas, and the doctor just showed her my brain and said that I don't need to get hit anymore because I had 60 pro fights and I had the stroke and I have too much at risk. So yeah, no more fights. I lived 20 years in crazy misery with Jim Martin, and I finally found happiness. And so hopefully I get to live the next 20, 30, 40 with happiness, at least all the wine.
Well, Christy, a bit of a personal question. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but how about kids? Is that in your future with Lisa? Children?
We're Lisa's a little bit older than I am, and I'm 52 or 53. How old am I? I'm 53. And so yeah, no.
All right.
I tell her, but I do tell her that I need a puppy. So, even when she gets mad at me, someone will still love me.
And I'm sure you have friends who have kids, and I don't know if you have nephews or nieces, but if you do, and if they ask you, they were interested in getting into boxing, what would you advise them?
It's a tough business. So to tell anybody that asks me advice about getting into boxing, it's a great workout. And that's going to be my first thing. You know what? Go try it as a workout, put in and see if it's really something that you want to be dedicated to, because boxing is like 24/7, 365. You never get away from it. And so I think you have to go try it out a little bit before you decide if you want to make that lifelong dedication.
And back to Don King. Has he given you advice, or what are some of the best practices he's done and that you've incorporated in your own promotion?
I straightforward. Just to be straightforward. You know, if the kid can fight, you say, yeah, he can fight. If he can't fight, you just, you know, no, you need to go find somebody else. I mean, that's how King did it. He just put you out there, you know, because he was like, it was always ever changing, interchangeable. It doesn't matter. He was going to make you fight. Whoever won, they got to move on. Loser, you know, maybe gets another chance to come back. You never know.
Now, watching your documentary yesterday, what I liked about your style, before you fought Lisa, I noticed your style was you kept going forward, forward, forward. And then when you fought Lisa, you were flexible enough. Yeah, you adapted.
She said, wait, because I'm smart. I mean, she's sitting over here, so she can. Unfortunately, you're my ear, so she can't hear that. But I'll repeat the question. So when I fought Lisa, look, Lisa's a lot taller than I am. She's a lot way stronger than I am. So all these fights I have fought going forward and like try to knock people out. I was smart enough to know that I had to be cautious. So I had to use my boxing skills that people didn't think I had. So before we got together as a couple, people would ask me, "What's your best fight? What do you think your best fight was?" There's no question. My best fight was against Lisa Hollowine. Unfortunately, my best fight was against Lisa Hollowine, or maybe fortunately, I don't know.
And okay, you developed that footwork. Did you have that before, or you developed that footwork within a matter of weeks or months leading up to the fight against Lisa?
No, I had it. I could box, but it was just to me. Why? I wanted to fight. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to fight. The crowd the fans want to see people get knocked out. They want to see people land big shots and get hit by big shots. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be that female version of Arturo Gatti.
And okay, so you're a promoter. Do you, correct me if I'm wrong and forgive my ignorance, you also manage boxers or you just promote them?
I just promote some. We have three, but Lisa manages a couple pros, so we kind of work together on that. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard though because it's a tough business, and you have those guys at the top that have all the TV dates and the big guys, the big champions. So it's a tough business to break into, but we're trying.
But what are your deal breakers and non-negotiables when it comes to boxers? So for example, I bring a boxer before you and you decide whether you want to take him or her on. What are your deal breakers and non-negotiables?
I think what attracts me to the fighter is not just how they fight in the ring, but the person they are on the outside of the ring. We've been fortunate to have this young kid on. His name's Shenard Bunch. He's 42 pounder. Good kid, just a good kid. I mean, I have no promotional, I have no management, but every time he comes around, he makes me smile because he's a good kid and he can fight. So we have Christy Martin Promotions, we have Benny Aguilar from Florida, good kid, come fight, crowd pleasing, fan friendly style. We have Anthony Sevilla from West Virginia that I'm excited about, crowd pleasing, likes to fight, good kid. So that's who I want to work with, these guys that can fight, will fight. That's the thing. They will fight. And they can fight. But on the outside of the ring, they're very respectable, not just to me and to Lisa, but to anybody. And you sit back and you see that happening, and those are the kids you want to help. That's the person I want to hitch my wagon to. I want to go on that ride with them to the title.
And the names you mentioned, are these the names we should, the world should watch out for? Us boxing fans should watch out for in the future?
Yeah, these are kids that are coming up, and Anthony Sevilla, he's a young 21 years old, and firefighter. Talked to me, he said, Christy, I had this opportunity to go to be a firefighter. What should I do? I'm like, go do that. Come back to boxing, because even though he's just 20 years old, this way of boxing could end tomorrow, and you have something to do for the rest of your life that will take care of you. So that was very important to me, that these guys understand that boxing's here today, but it can be gone tomorrow, and be ready for your future.
Now you were a very good basketball player before. At what stage in your life did you have to choose between boxing or hoops?
It was never like that, because I'm not quite 5'4". I love basketball, loved it. But yeah, I had gone as far as I was going to go, and I played at a very small college in West Virginia. So it was never a choice which one's going to happen. I was just fortunate that when I graduated from college, that boxing kind of presented itself, and one just led into the other. The funny thing is, I thought because I was in basketball shape, I was in boxing shape, and it didn't take me very long to realize that those two don't go together.
Okay, and as a former boxer, Christy, I want to get your if you can put on your analyst hat on. Um, if you follow our very own Manny Pacquiao, and if you saw his last fight against Ugas, um, what wasn't working? What wasn't working for our guy? If you saw the fight,
we were traveling, and we
okay.
didn't see the fight. I can't remember where we were, but we were flying, so we didn't see that fight. But it sounds like, there's two people that you can't beat, you can't beat Father Time or Mother Nature, and maybe Father Time caught up with Manny, but I haven't seen the fight, so I can't really state an honest opinion.
Okay, before I turn you over to Rika, now, and it's an understatement that you've been through a lot in your life, and what you went through with Jim is that an advocacy of yours? Domestic violence, spouse abuse, has that become an advocacy for you?
Absolutely. I mean, the first thing I said after really waking up before calling Miguel Diaz to train me was, God left me here for a reason, and that reason is to talk about domestic violence, and to bring people, just to bring the awareness up. And that's what I've tried to do for 10 years. And hopefully, I feel like if you reach one person, you've kind of done your job. But in my mind, because I want to be that champion, I want to reach one person every day. And hopefully this Netflix documentary's helping to reach one person every day. And it doesn't have to be just with domestic violence. It could be that person that's battling with their sexuality. It could be that person that feels like, I don't have a chance. I'm from the small town. or I have all these things against me. I can't do what my dream is. I can't accomplish it. But if they see my life, wow, if she could do it, I can do it.
Okay. Just one last question. Back to Manny Pacquiao. He's 42. Do you think he should hang it up, or do you do one more fight?
That's a tough one, because this is the thing with guys like Manny. I'm going to guess, I don't know him personally, but I'm going to guess that he's that kind of mindset that he doesn't want to go out with a farewell fight, like just over a nobody. He would want to come back and fight another competitive champion, probably, or top, 5 guy. So he's made a lot of money. He's how many belts does he have? He's a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer. He has nothing left to prove. So, why not hang him up and just continue doing what he does, do the politics, do the helping your people. And but he's done enough for boxing.
All right. Rika?
Yes. Christy, I want to talk about the movie, the Netflix movie. How was it like to watch it afterwards? Was it cathartic for you? Because it was different when you were shooting it, right? But to see it edited and just the narrative of it, how was it like watching it for the first time?
Well, the first time I watched it, actually the producer, Laura Brownson, came and watched it with Lisa and with me. And, it was a nervous wreck. But I think she did a great job putting everything together, putting all the pieces in place. I felt, I mean, clearly the hardest part, or I don't know if hardest is the right word. Like the part I got a little bit about was Jim Martin, because clearly just seeing him, but then to hear his arrogant voice, and even though a lot of people have talked to me and said, you know, he's still so arrogant after 10 years in prison, it hits me a little differently, because the words he uses, the attitude, the looks, those are all things that I have a different, I know I have a different, you know, I don't know, they affect me differently. It's just, it was hard.
Mm-hmm. I bet it is. And well, abuse is such a big part of that story. It's an insidious and complex concept. What do you want women and men to know about abuse? Because it's a lot of people have misconceptions about domestic abuse. What's the one thing you want them to know about it?
Yeah, I think the most important thing that I always talk about is not always physical, and that to me is it's the hardest part to explain to people. It's the hardest part for them to understand as well when you're trying to explain it. It can happen right in front of others, and if they don't know what to look for, they're not aware of it. Yeah, it's the domestic violence part that I hope that people can take the most away from, and really start to open their eyes and look around and see the situation that maybe their sister, their best friend, their neighbor, well, it could be male or female, you know, just be more aware of how everyone's being treated.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's like, you know, maybe some people like myself, even I know sometimes I teasingly say things to Lisa, but you know, I'm trying to reel myself in, because even though I know I'm playing and I'm just teasing, it may not be right, because after you hear something so many times, you start to feel insecure or a little bit negative about it. So I try to be careful, and so sometimes people may be doing things that they don't really realize is putting the other person down or making them feel uncomfortable.
Self-awareness, more self-awareness.
Right. Right.
Also, I noticed that while you're in the documentary, I think Jim has been saying that he has this delusion that he was the one who created you. I think that is a projection of how little he thought of himself, because he had to latch on to your popularity and your achievements. How did that feel like for you, seeing him like that after all these years?
You know, I really thought that after 10, almost 11 years in prison, that he would change a little. The arrogance wouldn't be there as much. I don't know. I guess in my own delusional way, I thought maybe he was going to say, he did shoot me, he did stab me, he did try to kill me. But clearly that's not what we got. We got about exactly what you said. You know, it was all about him. And that's what I am, in a way, I'm glad he said it, because now people that I tell for 20 years, it was all about him. They can see he right out of his mouth, it was all about him. You know, I was his Rembrandt, I think he said. And I'm like, wow, wonder where he got that word, because he, you know, he probably didn't even know who that is, you know. But
You feel that?
But that's what I heard every time. I mean, I was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I came in so excited, you know, and he explained to me, because of him, I was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Because of him, everything that happened was always because of him, never because of I had a good fight.
Yeah. Do you think that this kind of narrative of men trying to dictate the narrative of women's boxing is still an issue up to this day? Or have we gotten past that already?
You know what? I think in Jim's case and mine, it was a lot extreme, and it was different because it was husband and wife, coach and fighter. But the problem with boxing as a whole, I mean, some of these trainers, you know, some of the very top trainers, they do think it's about them. They forget that you know, bottom line, when that bell rings, that trainer crawls his ass out of the ring, and it's the fighter that has to go in there and fight. So yeah, maybe, I mean, yes, you've given them skills, as a coach, you've given them a game plan, but it's up to that fighter to perform and to execute that game plan. So yes, there's a lot of trainers that are very self-absorbed and think it is about them.
Mm-hmm. And you've been around as a fighter for a long time, and now you're a promoter. What do you think is the most pressing problem in women's boxing that you've seen?
It's really kind of it's hard to match women's fights. Like, it's because the pool is not big enough of women competitors.
Mm-hmm.
But yesterday at this amateur tournament, that's all women. The bouts were good. The fighters were skilled. So hopefully, this next generation coming up, they're going to be the ones that really, really change the face of women's boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in the 90s, we kind of, we brought it out there. We put it on your hands. So you put it in your hands. Now it's up to you. You have to take it to that next level.
Yeah, I agree. Like in my case, I'm minimum weight. So it's 45 kilograms. And we have a hard time looking for a 45 kilogram girl who has the same record to fight me. Even if I'm ready to fight, I couldn't really get a fight, even if I wanted to. Another question is, you've had women fighters, you handle women fighters, right? In your promotion.
We've had a couple female bouts on our show.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, maybe like 3, but it's just hard. We've had 3 or 4. We had the typical boxing BS happen. We had a female fighter that came, was going to be a really good fight. Mm-hmm. She weighed in. Opponent weighed in. Opponent looked like ripped, like in very, very good shape.
Mm-hmm.
Fighter A pulls out after the weigh-in. So what do you do as a promoter? It's not like you can go across town or even across the state and find somebody that can step in on a very, very short 24 or 48 hour notice. Mm-hmm. So it makes it difficult. As you said, you're, having a hard time finding an opponent for you. It's tough.
Yeah. And
it's hard for the promoters, and it's hard for the female fighters as well.
What do you say to your female fighters who, because I can imagine the frustration, right? Sticking to a career that doesn't seem to work out for you. What do you tell them?
It's hard. You just have to keep. If this is what you truly want to do, you just have to keep training, keep putting the time in, putting the work in, and your break will come. Your opportunity will come, but you have to be ready. That phone might ring and somebody says you have a fight in 3 days. Well, okay, I'm not ready. Well, that could have been the life-changing opportunity that you just weren't ready to take. And that's male and female fighters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what do you miss most about fighting? Like right now, you see guys training around you. What do you miss about fighting or being in
fighting?
Everything about it.
That's everything. I believe it or not, even though at 53, I'm not sure today that I really want to go work out every day. But I miss getting sweaty and doing the workout and working hard and working to that limit where you don't think you can get. You get so far and you push, but you want to push that little extra. I got to go that little extra. So I miss getting to that point and getting that extra out of me to like kind of show me and anybody else around that I can do this.
And another question, you said you have this, you have Christy's Angels, right?
Christy's Champs.
Christy's Champs, Angels, Champs. And you have this organization is to help domestic violence victims or survivors. It's a better word. Survivors. Sorry about that. Do you encourage them to take up boxing as a way of empowering themselves?
Well, this is one of the things that we do. We bring computers to local boxing gyms. Mm-hmm. And arrange for like tutors to come in, mentors, and then the boxing is there as an option. I think that I think as boxing is like this. You can do the workout and you never have to spar. You never have to get hit. You just learn the workout, and you just any athletic event that you do, and you start to get better. You start to get better. Your confidence starts to grow. And when you're walking down the street and you're holding your head up high and you're a confident person, then someone like Jim Martin, someone abuser, they're less likely to pick you out as their victim. You know what? That's a confident woman. I don't want to. No, I don't want any part of that. Let me find somebody that's going to be a little easier target. So that's what I think. That's why I think boxing is important for domestic violence victims and survivors. And with the victim and survivor, this is my thing. I was being interviewed by a student that was doing her senior exit project. And I sat down at the table and she asked me, how has being a domestic violence victim changed your life? And I remember this like it was like 5 minutes ago. I just kind of slumped back in my chair and I said, honey, I'm not a victim. I'm a survivor. And at that point, I realized how people saw me, but I also realized how I felt about me. And how important it was that people understand that I'm a survivor, because some people are still victims that are alive. You know, they just can't get past it. You're never going to forget it, but they can't move forward. So they are victims still. That's my explanation of those two terms.
I understand. And if there's someone who's just going through the same thing you've gone through in the past, what would you tell that person, to that woman? It's probably feeling alone or probably feeling detached from the world.
Absolutely. They're feeling alone and they're feeling isolated probably. It's just, first of all, Christy's Champs is out there. You can find me on the social media. We have a hotline number. But there are people that want to help you. You might have to look a little bit, because they don't know that you're in your situation. You're probably hiding. You have to let someone know that you need help. And there are people that not only can help you, but they want to help you. So reach out. Don't suffer in silence. And there's no need to take one day of abuse that one more day. You've already taken enough.
Even getting out of the situation is the beginning. It's just the beginning of healing, right?
It is the beginning, and it is also the most dangerous time. That's when a huge number of the homicides happen is within the first 2 weeks of leaving. So you have to have a plan. You can't be kind of halfway in and halfway out. When you decide to go, you have to go.
I think your Netflix movie spoke to a lot of women in that regard.
I hope so.
Yeah. So that's such a great story to put out there, and you're very brave actually to put it out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Because not a lot of
put on a good front.
No, but not a lot of women who've been through the same thing as you have is as brave to put their story out, right? So
right. Well,
thank you.
As I said, God left me here for a reason.
Thank you, Christy. Vince?
Thank you.
All right, Christy, you've gone into promoting fights. Now, I remember the story in your documentary when you first entered the gym, and then people were looking at you as if maybe even some think that you should be in the kitchen and not in the gym. Did you experience the same thing when you started out as a woman promoter, lady promoter?
It's definitely the good old boys network, but I think because of my work as a fighter, maybe I've gotten some passes as a promoter, and I formed a lot of really good, solid relationships as a boxer that I really didn't realize that would transfer over to me being a promoter. But I'm sure I'm getting some a little bit of help that maybe the average female promoter wouldn't get.
Any of today's boxers? You follow any of today's boxers, whether male or female? When you see them, it's as if you're looking in the mirror.
Yeah, I one of my favorite two of my favorite guys. Definitely Teofimo is one of my favorites because as I actually told him he talks the talk but he walks the walk. He goes out there and takes care of business. And Tank Davis is a little bit maybe does some things on the wrong side, but he's still, we're talking about the fighter. I like to watch him fight because he's one of those guys that somebody's going to come along that can really box and give him a hard time. And the last two fights have been kind of pretty competitive until he lands that big shot. And that's the whole thing with Tank is he can be losing for 12, he can be in that 12th round, but it only takes one shot. And that's, to me, that's what's exciting about Tank. It's only going to take one.
Now, you know about the mental health issues surrounding Ryan Garcia, which was the reason he took some time off. Now, how do you deal with your boxers who may have mental health issues? How do you deal with those?
We all, I think, have some kind of mental health issues. Actually, I have one fighter that probably does need to take some time away from the sport, and then his issues may be showing up in the ring. And that's it. I really just came to my mind that probably the best thing for him would be to take some time away from boxing. So, that's the thing. You have to take care of yourself first before you can get into the ring. It's very dangerous. Boxing is very dangerous. So you have to be fully focused, mentally, physically ready. You can't half-ass boxing.
And I'm sure you've had offers to have your whole life put on film, a bio picture on your life. Have you had any offers?
We definitely, and I had actually sold my life rights several years ago. I'm in the process right now of buying them back, and we have a few people talking to us. So yeah, it's probably gonna, maybe, who knows? Hollywood's kind of like boxing. That fight you talk about. We need to see the De La Hoya and Trinidad. How long did we talk about that? We need to see we need to see Tyson Lennox Lewis, and we talked about that way past the time it should have happened. So we needed to see Martin Riker, but Riker, chickened out. So what are you going to do? We'll see if this movie ever happens or not.
All right, back to you, Rika.
Speaking of the movie, do you have any actress in mind who you would want to portray your?
You know what? No, because I am not I'm not a big movie person. I like to watch movies, but we don't go see a lot of movies. And I didn't, for like 20 years, all I watched was black and white because that's all he wanted to watch. So I just kind of got out of the whole habit or the whole, I don't know, of seeing the up and coming movie stars. So I have no idea. I get different names thrown at me and I have to Google them and see, okay, yeah. So I don't know. I don't have an answer for that one.
Well, definitely.
Hopefully somebody cool.
Yeah, and she has to be a bit like athletic like you, because it's hard to fake that kind of on film, right? Okay.
Right.
My next question is actually, you said in the past that the ring was a safe place for you. Can you expound on that? You said that you feel safe inside the ring.
Right. The ring is always a safe place, as dangerous as boxing is, because like I felt like I was in control. Like that was the only place where I got to determine what I was gonna do and how I was gonna do it. And the rules, the rules. So I felt like the ring was my safe place. I got out of the hospital after he shot me and stabbed me. The next day I went to the boxing gym. I still had a bullet in my back. I had hundreds of stitches in my leg. And, but where I wanted to be was in the boxing ring.
Mm-hmm. And then you said that 7 months after that incident, you were already fighting. So what message did you want to get out to your fans at the time, or to people who support you? Why you wanted to be back in the ring that fast?
I was actually scheduled to fight in March. He shot me in November. I was scheduled to fight in March, and when I was training, and the rib that the bullet went through, my sparring partner hit me on the same rib, so he broke my rib, and it broke it in two, actually. So of course I didn't get to fight until June, but I wanted to get back in the ring because I felt like, and I still feel like, boxing is my platform to talk about domestic violence and domestic violence awareness, and bring more attention to, pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to your daughters, your mother, whomever, you know, pay attention to everyone around you.
And the red flags, right? Because there are red flags. Sometimes we just don't, or we don't recognize them, but they're everywhere, right?
You're absolutely right. People aren't aware of being aware, you know. You take things, and a lot of times, how many times have you heard this? Oh, that's just so and so. That's just the way he acts. Well, no, it's wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah, you always, not you, but people always want to give the benefit of the doubt, but then,
right.
Yeah. So I have questions here from Brian. Actually, he typed it. What can you say about the rising female boxers at present, like Clarissa Shields, Katie Holmes, Amanda Serrano, and all these other boxers, female boxers?
I think Katie Taylor is real solid. I think she's maybe not great at punching or boxing, but she's real solid at everything. So I think she's gonna be there for a while, and hard to beat. Amanda Serrano is she's very skilled. She likes to punch. She wants to sit down on her punches. She's trying to break my record for knockouts, and hopefully she does. I sent her a message and told her I hope she gets it.
Wow.
But you know, I think Amanda Serrano, because she has some charisma. She has charisma. So that's what women's boxing needs. You need that personality that people can, hey, wait, I want to see her again. She's got a little bit of, you know, a little bit of cockiness, a little bit of that, you know, a little bit of that gotta get it done attitude. So they want to see it. Fight fans want to see that.
And what can you say about boxers transitioning to other fight sports like MMA, or vice versa? MMA fighters going into boxing.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of MMA. So to see boxers go that way, I kind of hate it. And it's like, you know, it's almost like a football player challenging a basketball player at basketball, or vice versa, because that's their sport. That's what they do. They're going to be better at that. But hey, if you can make that transition and it leads you to making more money and being more successful, more power to you. Get it done.
Yeah, because Clarissa Shields, right? She transitioned just recently to MMA. What did you think about that move?
I didn't watch it. I don't know, but you know, she's the one that also said that boxing doesn't deserve her. So you know what? if MMA deserves you, go over there and you know, build some fan base. It's all good.
It's all good. Yeah. And lastly, what is your message to girls who are probably going through what you've gone through in the past, and they're struggling to get out of their situation right now?
Just to reach out to there's that one person somewhere in your life that you can trust and that you can reach out to, and maybe it's probably not the person that's the closest to you. It's somebody on that next ring of friends or coworkers. You know, it's somebody that you feel safe, that, and it may not be that person that can really get you out, but they're going to make the connection to the group or the individual that can help you. But don't stay one day longer than you have to, because you don't know when that day is going to come. And what I mean by that day is the day that he decides it isn't just beating you up anymore, or physically or verbally beating you down. This is the day I'm going to kill you, and it's not worth it. Don't stay one day.
And yeah, aren't you surprised at the numbers of how many women fighters actually have suffered domestic abuse? Because I've seen a couple of female fighters who've gone through the same thing, me included. So isn't that there's this sort of like irony there, right? You're supposed to be seen as a powerful, invincible figure, but then again, you have this story. So, what do you think about that?
Well, I think that it's that abuse and that beatdown that's inside of us that makes us want to be a fighter, and to be a fighter, not a boxer, really, a fighter, because we have all this. I feel like I had all this anger inside me from what Jim was doing, from even my parents and the sexuality, and I just had a lot of turmoil inside of me that boxing helped me get out.
When did you finally feel safe, Christy? When was the time that you felt like, wow, I'm in a safe place? Because there's this feeling that like as if the axe is gonna fall off, right? All the time. You have this. When did you feel that now I'm finally safe?
I feel like I feel like I'm safe now. But like even after Jim was put in jail, he had told me for so many years, not only would he kill me if ever I left, but if he didn't kill me, he would have someone kill me. So for the longest time, I look over my shoulder, and there are times, even today, that something kind of strange will happen, or maybe somebody out of the ordinary that really has no reason at all to call me will call me or send a message to me or something, and it makes me nervous. And I'm like, why did that happen? So unfortunately, I don't know if I'll ever 100% feel safe. Maybe after he dies, but even then, sometimes I think, wow, if he dies, and then that's when something will happen to me. So it's unfortunately, he gets to live in my head rent free a lot of times.
But you've shown amazing strength, Christy. Your story inspires all of us, right, Vince? Yeah, Vince and I were talking about the next Netflix movie, right, Vince?
Yes. Okay, we have a few minutes left, Christy. I have just two more questions, because we've seen male boxers get into domestic violence cases, and you have several male boxers in your stead. Do you ever talk to them and say, this is not how you treat a woman, this is how you should treat a woman? Do you ever give them that talk about how women are supposed to be treated?
I have never had to have any talks with the fighters that Christy My Promotions, we promote. But I will say this, there was a couple times that male fighters have been in trouble for domestic violence, and then their managers will call me and ask me to put them on my show, and I have to say no, because there was even a football player, an NFL player, that wanted to make a pro debut in boxing, but he had been in trouble, very serious trouble, for domestic violence assault on his wife, and I told him no, they had to find another promoter.
Last question, Christy. When was the bullet from your back removed?
They took the bullet out of my back in January. After he shot me in November, the bullet stayed in my back until I'm pretty sure it was January. And of course, the police had to come. It was like you see on TV, they lanced, so you could feel the bullet, because I was laying on the floor when he shot me. So the concrete, wouldn't allow the bullet to pass through. So you could take your finger and feel it on my back. And the doctor lanced it the police officer was there. They popped it out into the little cup, and off went the bullet for evidence.
All right. Rika, any last questions for our guest?
No, I'm good, and I just want to say how happy I am now to be just to be in the presence of such a legend, and
Thank you,
uh,
Rika.
and your story's amazing. I hope more women get to see your movie, and
Thank you.
tell us when you've gotten the rights to your story back, so that we're gonna watch out for that movie.
For sure. I'll
For
stay
your,
in touch with you guys. We actually have a book coming out
oh wow,
next year, June. Yes.
wow.
So we'll have to be back in touch with that,
Sure.
Sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
For
if
sure.
not before. Awesome.
And if
Great.
you can,
Thank
also,
you guys.
yeah, I hope I can also invite you to my show. I also have a show, a boxing show. If
Oh,
I
yeah?
can also
Cool.
invite you. Yeah.
Cool. You have all my information.
Thank you.
And I'll promise I'll be on time.
Thank you.
Sorry
Chris.
about that, Christy. Really
All right,
sorry
no
about
problem.
that. All
No
right.
problem. You guys have a great day.
All right. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for
Bye-bye.
waking up early for us.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Bye-bye.
See you.
All right. And that ends our episode with our Hall of Famer, International Boxing Hall of Famer, and Nevada Boxing Hall of Famer, and a boxing legend who is of resiliency and toughness, both in the ring and outside of the ring. So thank you very much for watching. Any final words, Rika, for our viewers?
Yeah. Well, I hope all women and men are all as inspired as we were in this interview, and I hope they watch the movie. Actually, the Netflix movie is quite good. Direct Brian is saying how starstruck I am. I really am, because it's important to have a representative of women's boxing that is as strong and as honest and as authentic as Christy is. So that's it.
All right. And we'd like to thank Brian for supporting us in tonight's episode. Thank you, Brian. And Rika, thank you also.
Thank
I
you,
hope you
Vince.
enjoyed.
Yes, of course. Thank you for inviting me.
And we'll watch out for that book. And that ends our episode for tonight's Sports for All. Actually, we have Brian and I have at least one more episode to do, and we'll be doing that in a few minutes, Brian. So again, Rika, thank you. And to all of you, stay safe and so long.